Hello there. They call me Mystery. For me, it was hard to realize that almost everything in society today can be given value in monetary terms. Basically, there is a price on everything in this world. As a result, money seems to be the glue that holds the world together and the answer for almost everything. People put undying and unquestionable faith in it. This blind faith makes it impossible for people to conceive life without it. But what is money? How does it work and where did it come from?
My name is Mystery. For reasons unknown, I have been thrown back into the past almost 100 years, and this is my story.
There are two schools of thought on the origin of money. Back in simpler times, people used to trade items and decide upon their exchange value. Example, I'll give you two bananas for a loaf of bread. One theory is that money came as a natural progression of this system as it provided the exchange value in set terms. Instead of having to negotiate value for every transaction you undertake, money became an exchange standardizer, basically. The other school of thought is a little bit more intriguing. It's the idea that money came from record keeping and receipting. Example, I give you some bananas now, but you don't have bread. And so you give me a written assurance, like an IOU, that says, present this to me and I'll give you a loaf of bread. And later, I'll come to you and get my loaf of bread. Let's just say, though, I ended up not wanting the loaf and I needed fish instead. I could take that IOU and say to the fishmonger, give me a fish, and the baker over there will give you a loaf of bread if you present them with this IOU. The baker accepts the transaction, and one has just been made not on a product or a good, but on a promise. A promise to make good on a debt. From this system, it can be inferred that money is simply debt. It's a promise and a belief that an arbitrary symbol can be exchanged for something of actual value. That is what money is, a form of exchangeable debt. That's crazy. I was always under the impression that money simply had value in itself, but it's technically the opposite. Nowadays, the state in a society is responsible for providing the official currency used in that place. So, governments create money and print cash for participants in their economy to exchange for goods and services. But why is money effective or necessary in complex societies? Well, money has some interesting characteristics. It has representative value. It is backed by the state and recognised for exchange. I can go to any pub in Australia, use a $5 note, and the bartender will accept that note in exchange for a beer. No hesitation. Money also holds its value over time. It doesn't deteriorate like bread or bananas. It holds its value in perpetuity. Also, it's a standardized unit of measure. A bunch of bananas is $5 and a loaf of bread is 3. You don't have to negotiate its exchangeable worth each time you use it. A dollar is a dollar or 2 50-cent coins, etc. But why put faith in money? The way money's value was made possible up until very recently is through a system of backing it up. Up until the 1970s, all money in circulation was given value because it was backed by gold. Meaning, for the money in existence, there was piles of gold stored somewhere that would ensure its value and legitimacy. What's truly crazy is this backing doesn't exist anymore, but the faith still does. What I mean is, financial systems and economies around the world are known as fiat systems, meaning governments simply print cash and create money backed on promises like bonds that the money created is given value because it is secured and redeemable by the state. Basically, money, a promise, is backed by a promise, which is created out of thin air. The whole entire monetary system is predicated on promises that no longer are grounded in any material value. Does that make you feel a little uncomfortable? Why? Because it seems incredibly unstable? I would say yes, it very much is. You could almost describe money as fictitious. As the old saying goes, money makes money. That is literally what happens. Not just a euphemism for good business. What is even crazier to ponder is that cash and money are not the same thing. As a basic rule of thumb, all of the money currently in existence, only 3% of it is actually cash. Let me rephrase that. Only 3% of money exists in the physical world. The rest, 97%, is digital or non-existent. This is where the rabbit hole gets crazy deep and complicated. Money isn't just created by governments printing notes and making promises. Let's say you're a bank and Mrs. X comes in and asks to loan $1 million from you. You don't actually need to have $1 million to give to Miss X. You just go to your computer and magically type into her bank account $1 million. Just like that, $1 million has just been created out of nowhere. This $1 million doesn't just sit in this bank account in isolation. It's part of the bank's collection of bank accounts, all tied together so the bank can play with it and transfer between its accounts as it likes. What gives this magical system of money creation stability is good spenders. There needs to be enough people in an economy, all with bank accounts, that are transferring money between them, paying each other for goods and services over a period of time that will one day exceed the $1 million that was created, and voila. The $1 million will then be payable and with the bank's interest on top. As long as people are paying each other for goods and services at increasing costs, the money created will keep validating itself. But this is just theoretical. Bankers aren't going to wait around for equilibrium and balance. Bankers become wealthier by creating more money, so more money they will create. When banks write up sums of money into existence that significantly outweighs the goods and services being produced in the economy, it can be said that the present cannot repay what it's borrowed from the future. And so, if bank customers find out about this imbalance, there is a panic and they all start trying to take their money out of the bank at the same time. Then the market crashes, leading to things like depressions. The way banks create money is mind-boggling, and the way they play with it, it's like it's some type of crazy casino. But that's not fair to casinos, because at least they have money on hand to pay out their customers if they need to. Now, if you thought this was interesting, please like it and share it with someone who needs to hear this. Until next time, I am, you are, we are a mystery.